You did the smart thing. While most people did nothing at all, you actually started storing food for an emergency. But here is the unsettling part. According to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, whose ready.gov guidance covers everything from hurricane season to power grid failure, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the two most experienced food storage organizations on Earth, most people who store food are quietly making a mistake serious enough to leave them standing in front of a full pantry, unable to eat a single bite of it on the day they finally need it. I will give you one of these mistakes for free right now, because it is the most common of them all. The spot where you probably keep your food, the garage, is slowly destroying it as we speak. But that one is not the mistake that worries me. There is a specific mistake on this list that does not just waste your food, it can turn the food you so carefully stored into something that is no longer safe to put in your body. I am going to show you exactly which one that is and how both FEMA and the church tell their own people to avoid all nine. So before you trust that pantry to carry your family through a real emergency, let's make absolutely sure you are not making the one mistake that quietly cancels out everything you have done. Let me start by saying this plainly. If you have stored even a week of food, you are already ahead of most of the country. So this video is not here to scare you or to shame you. It is here to protect the work you have already done, because storing the food is only half the job. Keeping it good and keeping it usable is the other half. Here is why these two organizations are worth listening to. FEMA has managed the aftermath of nearly every major American disaster for decades, and their consumer guidance lives at ready.gov. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the organization most people simply call the Mormon Church, has taught home food storage to its own members for well over 100 years, operating their own network of home storage centers, sometimes called canneries, where members can actually package and seal long-term food supplies longer and more systematically than almost anyone alive. So when both of these groups, coming from completely different directions, warn about the very same handful of mistakes, it is worth paying close attention. Let's count them down from 9 to 1, and the closer we get to number 1, the more serious they become. We will start with the most common mistake of all, and it is the one that feels the most responsible while you are making it. Buying food because it stores well instead of because you actually eat it. You have seen it. The giant bucket of hard wheat, the case of freeze-dried survival meals or MREs, meals ready to eat that nobody in the house has ever tasted. It feels like serious prepping. And then the emergency comes, and you are standing there with 50 pounds of wheat and no real idea how to turn it into a meal your family will actually swallow. Both organizations are clear on this. FEMA's guidance is simply to choose foods your family will eat, and the church's instruction is to store the foods that are already a part of your normal diet. The fix here is freeing, especially if money is tight. You do not need exotic survival food at all. You build your storage out of the canned and packaged meals you already cook and already love. Buy a few extra each shopping trip, and your everyday food quietly becomes your emergency food. The next mistake is the one that empties wallets and scares people off of preparedness entirely. Panic buying, trying to build a year of food storage in a single, overwhelming, expensive trip, and going into debt to do it. This one matters to me because so many people on a fixed income see the size of the goal and just give up before they start. So listen to what the church itself tells its members. Do not go to extremes. It is not prudent to go into debt to establish your food storage all at once. Build it gradually over time. That is not me talking. That is the guidance from the organization most famous on earth for food storage. FEMA echoes this too. Their own ready.gov guidance suggests starting with a simple 72-hour kit, just 3 days of food and water before building toward longer supplies. The fix is patience. Pick a small, comfortable amount to spend each month, maybe $20 or $30, and build a single week's supply first. Then stretch that to a month, then to 3. Slow and steady beats one panicked, expensive scramble every single time, and your budget never even feels the strain. Now back to that free mistake I gave you at the start, because it really deserves a closer look. Where you store your food matters nearly as much as what you store. And the single most common storage spot, the garage, is one of the very worst. Here is the official word. The church's guidance is to keep food in a cool, dry place, around 75 degrees or cooler, and it specifically warns that garages and attics are often too hot and will degrade the quality of your food faster. The federal food safety guidance agrees, calling for a cool, dry, dark place, ideally between 40 and 70 degrees, kept well away from any heat source. The reason is simple chemistry. Heat speeds up the breakdown of food, draining the nutrition and the shelf life right out of it, and it can cut years down to months. This is also why proper long-term storage uses tools like Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. Sealed together, they remove the oxygen that causes food to degrade, and they are specifically recommended for staples like white rice, beans, and wheat. The fix costs you nothing just to start. Move your food out of the garage and the attic and into the cool interior of your home. A bedroom closet, a basement, the space under a bed. Those ordinary indoor spots will keep your food good for years longer. Mistake number 6 is the quiet one, the one that happens slowly while you feel completely prepared. You store the food, you feel good about it, and then you never touch it again. Months pass, years pass, and one day you reach for it and you discover that half of it has already expired. FEMA's guidance is direct. Check the expiration dates and use and replace your food before those dates pass. The church teaches the very same habit, to rotate your storage regularly so that nothing goes to waste. Now, you may have heard that staples like wheat, white rice, and beans can last 30 years, and that is true, but only when they are properly packaged, sealed in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and kept cool, which loops right back to the mistake we just covered. The fix is a system the old-timers called first in, first out. New cans go to the back, older cans come to the front, and you always eat from the front. Then, twice a year, you walk your storage and check it. A lot of church members do this on a set weekend twice a year, so they never forget, and that is a habit worth borrowing no matter who you are. Here's a mistake so common that it is almost universal. People pour all of their energy into storing food, and they forget the thing that matters even more. Water. FEMA's standard is at least 1 gallon of water per person per day, and their extended recommendation for a serious emergency is a full 2-week supply for every person in your home. And here is the part people miss. A huge amount of the food you have stored, the rice, the beans, the pasta, the powdered milk, is completely useless without water to prepare it. So a pantry full of dry goods and no stored water is a pantry that may just sit there mocking you. The fix is to store water right alongside your food, not as an afterthought. Start with a few days' worth as part of your 72-hour kit and build toward that 2-week supply for every person in your home. Water is the cheapest thing you will ever store because most of it comes straight from your tap, and it may also be the most important. I have a whole separate video on doing this the right way, and I will point you to it at the end. Now we reach part of what I teased at the very beginning, the full pantry that you cannot actually eat from. Picture this: the power is out. You walk to your shelves, stacked high with canned food you bought for exactly this moment. And then you realize that your only can opener was the electric one on the counter, and it is as dead as everything else in the house. FEMA calls this out specifically, telling people to be sure to include a manual can opener with their supplies. And the same goes for cooking. A lot of stored food needs heat to become a meal, and FEMA warns that charcoal grills and camp stoves are for outdoor use only, never inside, for reasons I have covered before. So the mistake is having all of the food, but not the means to open it or to safely cook it. The fix is cheap and it is quick. Keep at least one good manual can opener with your storage, ideally two, and make sure you have a safe way to heat food that does not depend on the grid or on burning something dangerous indoors. This next one is the mistake I promised has nothing to do with the food spoiling, and it is the one almost nobody believes until it is explained. Storing the wrong kind of food, specifically food that is very salty or very spicy. Here is why it is dangerous, straight from the federal food safety guidance. Foods that are very salty or very spicy increase your need for drinking water at exactly the moment when water may be in the shortest supply. FEMA puts it simply: avoid foods that will make you thirsty. Think about what that actually means in a real emergency. You have carefully rationed your water, and then a few meals of salty canned chili or dry, heavily salted crackers quietly burns through your most precious resource faster than you can possibly replace it. The food did not spoil, it turned on you anyway. The fix is to lean toward the low-sodium versions of your canned goods and foods with a high liquid content, the kind that hydrate you instead of draining you. Mistake number 2 is about what happens after a few days of eating from your storage. If everything you stored is white rice and beans, you are going to run into 2 problems. The first is your body. FEMA's guidance is that adults need roughly 2,000 calories per day, and the church's guidance is to buy from different food groups to ensure proper nutrition, because weeks of the same few staples will leave you short on the vitamins your body needs. The second problem is your mind. Eating the exact same bland meal day after day wears people down in a way that is hard to describe until you have lived through it, and it even has a name among preppers: appetite fatigue. And there is a piece that both organizations insist on. FEMA tells people to remember any special dietary needs. That means the diabetic in your home, the family member with allergies, the baby who needs formula, and the pets who need feeding too. The fix is to build in variety on purpose. A real mix of food groups, some comfort foods that lift morale, and a specific plan for every single mouth and every medical condition under your roof. And now the one I have been promising since the very start. The mistake that does not just waste your food, but can make it genuinely unsafe to eat. And the reason it is number 1 is that it is incredibly common and almost nobody realizes they are doing it. Storing your food right next to chemicals and fuel. Here is the official warning from the federal food safety guidance, and you may want to hear it twice. Store food away from petroleum products such as gasoline, oil, paint, and solvents, because some food products will absorb their smell and their chemicals. Now think about where most people keep their food storage: the garage. And what else lives in the garage? The gas can for the mower, the motor oil, the paint cans, the weed killer, and the bug spray. Your stored food has been sitting in that chemical air the entire time, slowly absorbing it, and you would never know until the day you opened it. This contamination risk is why both FEMA and the church's home storage center guidance are so emphatic about indoor, dedicated storage space completely separate from any fuel, solvents, or pesticides. The fix is absolute. Food never ever shares a space with fuel, paint, pesticides, or solvents. You keep them in completely separate parts of your home. And one last safety rule from that same federal guidance, because it belongs right here. Any can that is bulging, leaking, rusted through, or that spurts liquid when you open it, you throw it out, no matter how much it cost you. When it comes to the food that is supposed to save you, you never gamble. So there they are. The 9 food storage mistakes that FEMA and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints warn their own people about. And notice the thread running through all of them. Storing the food was only ever half the job. Protecting it and making sure that you can actually use it is the other half. And now you know how both of these organizations tell you to do exactly that. Here is the reassuring part. You do not have to fix all 9 of these tonight. Correct even 2 or 3 of them, and your food storage is already more reliable than that of almost everyone around you. Every bit of this traces back to FEMA, to ready.gov and the federal food safety guidance, and to the published teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and their home storage centers, and the sources are linked down below. So here is your challenge for this week. Walk through your pantry, find which of these 9 mistakes you are making right now, and fix just one of them today. And if you have not yet seen the companion to this video, the one on the exact foods that FEMA and the Mormon Church tell their own people to store, that is the other half of this whole plan, and it is waiting for you right here.